If they can see that.
No.
Did you follow him on Instagram?
You follow me back too?
Did you see he posted that?
That's girlfriend. No, I don't care. I'm not into him like that.
Like that.
Bless you.
Is it on now?
The word taxonomy reminds me of taxes.
All right. So let's look at this taxonomy, how we classify organisms. All right. So here's the deal. So if we're right down here at the bottom of this little outline, we'll come back to this. But we need to go ahead and jump into how we classify things, because we, at the end of that last unit, we looked at phylogenetic trees and like how you put different species on these little trees that represent how closely related they are. Okay. So at the bottom, where it says, y'all have a question? Study of the classification of organisms. That already has a definition of what taxonomy is. Okay. All that is grouping organisms. But classification, so the next thing is, and I'm just going to write it out the way it says it. Classification, what is it? So if somebody asks you to classify something,
To identify it.
okay, not only do you identify just means identify. I say, that is a dog. Okay.
You sort it out. You put it in a group.
Okay. Okay, so then you look at it and you say, okay, but this dog looks like this. Candy, but this one is like this. So you start looking at its characteristics and then you put them into a group, right? So what is it is grouping objects or organisms in this case.
What's the heading?
Taxonomy, how we classify organisms.
According to their characteristics. So we're going to look at them and see, well, what do they have in common? We'll put those together versus all the other ones. Okay, so let's see. Why do we do it? Why do we even want to group things into a group?
So we can see what they is alike and what's not alike.
Okay, so why? Let's see what's alike, not alike. All right, Darlene, what did you just say?
To see if there's something in common.
See what they have in common. All right, what if it's classifying stuff in Walmart or in a grocery store?
The prices.
Okay,
I got it.
What's it called?
Ingredient.
Organized.
Like,
to make it more organized. Okay, so if things are more organized, then if you're in a store,
You have to label stuff, you know, you can know stuff.
so what does it make? Whose job are you really trying to make easy?
The customers.
customers.
Customers. And then if you have to go stock shelves and they say, well, just throw it all out there.
You want to be able to clap that?
Easy job.
The customers.
Does that look like anybody's room? Just kind of throw it all out there?
Yeah.
So it is, it's easier to organize, study, shop, etc. Okay, it's easier to do your job. Well, your job is to try to figure out, why is an animal? Why is a plant considered a plant? Why are produce, bacteria? Why are viruses not even a living thing? So at the very beginning of school, we wrote down 6 kingdoms of organisms. And y'all had a kingdom chart. And on that kingdom chart, we had to fill in who's a prokaryote, who's a eukaryote, who reproduces, who's one-celled, who's multi-celled. So we're going to go back over that, just because I told you at the very beginning, we're going to keep re-looping and re-looping and re-looping. So that way, when you hear it again later, you're going to be like, oh gosh, I know bacteria is prokaryotic. They're one cell. They don't have a nucleus. They have ribosomes and DNA, but they don't have all this other stuff. So you're going to remember back, and that's going to help you when you take that test. So who would be the very first organisms who evolved on the planet?
Bacteria.
Bacteria. They're the simplest ones on the earth, so they had to be here first. We don't start with complex stuff. We start with simple, and as they evolve and change, then we have the next ones, and then the next ones, and the next ones. And so we put all the organisms on this tree. But Darwin said they all evolved from one common ancestor. That's probably the hardest thing for people to swallow. But, you know, at least we know there's a common plan, especially with them all having DNA and everything. Okay, so why do it with organisms? It is easier to study, and that's what we're going to do. All right, so down from that, it says the big players in the field of taxonomy. All right, there's only 2 names you have to kind of recognize. Not so much you have to tell me when they lived or what their birthday was or how old they were when they died. You don't have to know any of that. But what you do have to know is kind of attach their names to these 2 things. Just like Watson and Crick. Watson and Crick, what did they do for DNA?
Discovered a double helix.
Yeah, first model double helix. Okay, who is the father of genetics? Who's the pea plant person?
Gregor Mendel.
There you go, Gregor Mendel. Who was the father of evolution, natural selection?
Charles Darwin.
Charles Darwin. All right, so that you just have to be able to, it's name recognition is what you have to know. Our test is not like a history test. All right, so below that, that's what we're going to put. So the big players.
The big player.
In taxonomy. All right, the first guy is the guy who, he is, I'm sure there were a bunch of other people who did this, but he's the guy who got credit for being the first to actually group organisms into certain groups. So he either said you are animal or plant. And Aristotle's name's attached to all kinds of discoveries, especially there's math and philosophy and all that. So Aristotle, and so he's old, super old. So how he classified organisms. Yep. Okay. As either plants or animal. Now, why would he not say anything about bacteria?
Because it's not a living organism.
It's bacteria. Now think about it. If this was way a long time ago, what did they not have? What kind of technology did they not have that we have?
They don't have
Phones and laptops and stuff like that, technology.
And then what do you use to be able to look at bacteria?
Technology.
Microscope.
I said telescope too.
So a microscope, if they didn't have a microscope, then the only life they thought was on the planet is what they could see. So if they didn't see it, they didn't know it existed. So that's why, like in a lot of your stories about creation and, you know, in your biblical books, like your religious books, you know, they didn't say in the beginning, God, whoever created bacteria. They didn't know it existed. They just knew people didn't live very long. You know, you were an old person if you lived to be 40. Just because a lot of people died of disease, and most of the time they thought they just didn't do something right, so they were being punished. They didn't know there was bacteria that's out there that just made them sick, and they died. So at that time, a lot of people didn't take baths at all. When King Henry VIII, y'all learned about him. When he lived, he's the guy that had so many wives killed because they wouldn't give him a son.
But it was his fault.
And it was his fault. You're exactly right. So at that time, you got 3 baths. Once when you were born, they washed you off real good. Second time before you got married, and after you died, they prepared your body. So if you went your whole life with 2 baths, that's a bunch of bacteria that's living on your skin. And no wonder people got sick and died early, you know? They didn't live to be very long. Exactly. So my point is, this wasn't too bad, the fact that he saw a bunch of green things that weren't moving, and he said, you know what, we're gonna call those plants. And then everything that was moving, he called an animal. So where do you think he put fungus, like mushrooms? Yep. And they actually were considered kind of plant-like for a long time. Where do you think, if you did look at anything in like pond water that's swimming around, where do you think he put it? Animal. So this one, he said you're either a water animal, a land animal, or an air animal. So he classified you by what you could do or where your habitat was. And then he also classified plants in a more detailed way too. But anyway, so he started the ball rolling. So who went where? We said fungi would be here, produce would be here, and he didn't know anything about bacteria. Nothing. Okay? Yep, so he said that's pretty much where they went. But Linnaeus is the guy that you have to know more about because he pretty much discovered how we classify organisms that we still use today. Linnaeus or Linnaeus?
Are they still alive right now?
Mm-mm.
Is that people?
Produce.
Both.
Yeah, of course, people were animals, so yeah, that counts there too. All right, so Linnaeus, his contributions are on the back. If you flip this over, he did two major things. One deals with this big box of this like layered box diagram. He's considered the father of taxonomy. Okay. Y'all good so far? All right, so this next part is probably one of the most important things we do because it's going to show how all the different groups that you classified organisms. Okay, so. All right.
Did we skip over where?
I just said fungi and then produce. Fungi went with the plants and produce went with the animals. So the first thing that he did was hierarchy of classification.
Hierarchy.
And if it's a hierarchy, it's multi-leveled. All right, you have different levels, different groups. And I'm going to compare this to Walmart because if you see how he started this thing off and we compare it to Walmart, I think you'll understand why I drew this the way I did. I used to not do this, but I think when we do it this way, you'll understand what we're talking about. All right, so hierarchy or levels. Level groups. All right. So if we were to group all of us in this room, what is one easy way we could group everybody?
Color comparison.
For that. You could go all dark haired, all light haired.
Yeah.
Okay, you could do that. Or you could say all boys, all girls. Okay. Or you could do it by nationality. I guess I would be in the mutt nationality because I can't even trace all of my origins. I'm just all kind of mixed up.
Same.
So anyway, we can do it like that. But what Linnaeus did was he said, you know what, everybody's doing it their own way. We've got to come up with a system that we all use to classify organisms. And this way is still used today. No matter where you go across the whole planet, this is exactly what they did. People were calling things like, they would look outside and say, well, that's a pin oak tree. No, that's not a pin oak tree. That's a bur oak tree. No, that's what we call a pin oak tree. Well, people got to the point where they're just naming things just to name whatever they wanted to name them, and everybody was calling them different names. So your common names are like that. You could go to England and point at a ladybug and say, hey, that's a ladybug. No, that's a ladybird beetle. That's what they call it, a bird beetle. Or yeah, and then somebody would call a jellyfish a jellyfish. Well, a jellyfish isn't a fish. It doesn't have a backbone. It's not. It's actually a cnidarian. It has tentacles and stinging cells. Or a koala bear. They call a koala bear a bear. It's not a bear. It's a marsupial. It has a pouch. So what's interesting is people just started making up names and it was nobody, it wasn't consistent. So so this is what he did. He came up with this hierarchy of classification. So the first big box that you have is the biggest group you have. That is the broadest group you can put any
Can
organism
we just
into.
do it on here?
Yeah. So the first big group is domain.
We have a box already.
Yep.
No.
This is the broadest taxon there is. All right. So if it's the broadest, it is the biggest. This would be Walmart. Okay. So I'm going to compare it to, this would be the actual building Walmart. It is the biggest of the groups you can put something in. For us, it would be eukarya. So what I'm going to do is write down our complete classification. So this is going to be for humans, for us. Okay, so way over there on the end. That is our domain. Now, what does that look like to you? Eukaryotic. So if you're eukaryotic, guess what? You belong to our group, our domain. So who all have eukaryotic cells? All animals, plants, two more.
Trees.
Plants, fungus, and protists. Somebody almost said protists. Bacteria are the outliers. So that means if you're a plant, a fungus, or protist, or an animal, you can come with us to Walmart. We're all in there. Okay? Now, if you take Walmart, though, we don't just all are out there roaming around. Then you go to Walmart. What are the big groups, like the big areas in Walmart? All clothing. Okay?
Fruit,
All food. Okay, I would argue you take toys, electronics, sporting goods, all of that would be entertainment. That's all, that whole back wall practically, entertainment. Kitchen, so you would say house, you would even say all house goods, anything that you would use in a house, and that would. So that would be something about health and well-being or something, we can call it, and that would be cosmetics and pharmacy and, you know, all the other medicines and stuff. Right, so you see what I'm saying? Those are kingdoms. So that's the next one. So kingdom would be the big, huge departments. So we're going to use food as an example for ours. But kingdom is the second broadest. Largest. So broad or large is the same. Okay, so taxon. So all of these groups are called taxons. And that's the word they may use. They may not say, what's the biggest group? They're going to say, what's the largest taxon? Okay, so the next one, so let's do food. So in Walmart, let's say food section. What is our kingdom? What kind of eukaryote are we? Animals. So we're animated. Okay, so now we're in the food section. We're not going anywhere else. If we want to find plants, we might go over to the individual sections. Okay. All right. So the next one is. Hope I don't run out of boxes. Okay. So food at Walmart.
I saw that. I couldn't believe it.
You had to divide all the food into two sections. Two sections.
Frozen foods and non-frozen foods.
Can you read the first one for me?
I would argue there's probably even a step above that. You probably could do it that way. We said cold and not cold.
I just said frozen.
Or just because you have to refrigerate. So, yeah, so I'd say cold and not cold. So, kingdom, phylum. Okay, phylum would be the next type. So this is the third largest. But what we've got is for food, let's say cold.
It's easy for me to remember too.
Okay. Our phylum is chordata.
You have 1, 2,
We
7
have a backbone.
packets, all your packets.
And the reason we have a backbone, we have a little tail as an embryo, we've got gill slits as an embryo, that makes us a chordata. Yeah, chordata. All right, so eventually we need to find our way to the milk. That's where we're going. So, tell me where
Add that into the,
you would find, what is the big section where you would find milk? What dairy? All right, so this is kingdom, phylum, class.
I will after this.
Okay, so class would be dairy for our mammals. Our class, or mammals. Heard about mammals all your
Anything else?
To get out of here.
mammalians.
That's, I can help with that.
Oh my God, these thorns.
Morning things, whatever something you do,
No.
that's what you need to do.
We're not talking about you.
31st.
What is this?
31st. I
Class.
have it in
Yep,
before.
just class.
What does that?
Why are we mammalia?
26. It's 26.
Oh,
We're
we're
mammals.
mammals?
Yeah, so to be a mammal, we have to have fur,
Shut the front
we have
door.
fur hair,
It's been
we
before
have to
26.
make milk to feed our young.
But you can be in can't you?
So if you make milk to feed your babies, you're a mammal.
Oh,
Now, some mammals don't have teeth, they don't have nipples.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Like what animal?
the duckbill platypus doesn't, and what they do is their
Yeah,
skin
the same packet.
oozes milk,
You put 'em
and
on.
they have to suckle the skin.
So what happens to this?
Anything else?
Is it like get
I'm
bad?
sure it's a little tougher than the other parts, just because, I mean, just, that's, but if you make milk and you have hair and fur, then you're a mammal. All right, so now we're in dairy, we gotta get to skim white milk, is what we're getting down to. So where are we gonna look for milk?
The dairy.
I mean, in the dairy, where are we gonna go to find the milk?
Fridge. At the store.
All right, so kingdom, phylum, class, order. All right, order, we're gonna go just out back to that back cooler where all that milk is. The thing is, there's not just cow's milk. We're gonna try to get cow's milk. What are all the different kind of milks you see?
Cow
Goat, soy, almond. Now there's all these tons of milk.
milk.
I mean,
I don't know
we're
what
gonna
it
go
is.
to the milk section. The type of mammal we are primates. Now, usually somebody comes up and asks the question about, well, we're not monkeys. No, we're not monkeys. We've never been a monkey and we never will be, but we are a primate. So we're primates because our eyes are in the front of our head, okay? We have opposable thumbs. We don't have opposable toes like monkeys do. But if you did, think about what your shoes would look like. And your socks. So our opposable thumbs, we're able to climb. No, we can't because we decided that we're actually going to walk on 2 feet. So we're different from the other primates. But we are primate mammals. All right, so the next one. All right, we're going to the milk. We need to find skim, white, cow's milk. So on the milk section, where are we gonna go?
He said to the milk we want.
He said.
Is that family?
No.
Amelia.
Go to the cow milk,
Why cow milk?
because that's what we want.
Oh.
So we're gonna go all the way down, it would be like cow's milk. Now we could go almond milk or whatever, depends on what we're looking for. Family, yep. And for family, we are hominids or hominidae. There's nothing, it's just the box. You know, see how yours is?
It's H-O-M.
Cow,
How
yeah.
do they get milk out of almonds? How do you spell?
Hominid, Hominid. Hominid means upright walking, bipedal primates. All right, tell me what this is. Oops. Bipedal. What does
Two.
bi mean?
Two.
Pedal of a bicycle. What do you put on a pedal of a bicycle? What part of your body do you put on a pedal? Feet. That means ped means foot. So we are two-legged, two-footed primates. And the reason we're different is our knees lock. So you can stand and lock your knees, and that's how, if we take a chimp or a gorilla knee compared to a human knee, our knees lock in place. Theirs don't. And you can see animals that stand on 2 feet, but their knees aren't the same. But they can do this. But that's why they're always walking like this. Their knees won't extend all the way. So they can walk for a while, but then they go back down on all fours. So they're a little bit different than us.
You're making me want to go to the zoo.
I know.
And then you go back and really watch, because it's true. I mean, they'll walk like this, but then they get tired because their knees can't withstand that, and then they go over.
What's a future to the zoo? Yeah.
I know, it's been a while since
can't
I've
afford
been
it.
home.
I've been
No,
last time I was like, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's second grade, first
I
grade.
miss you, Natalie.
All right, so there's only 2 groups left. And these are probably 2 of the most important, because this is where your scientific name came from.
Gina.
All right, so we're going to do
Gene.
cow milk. We're going to do, we can either do white milk or strawberry or chocolate.
Chocolate.
Okay, so we can put chocolate. Okay, and so for us, our type of hominid, we're the only one left on the planet. This is genus. This right here, underline it, because that's the first part of your scientific name.
Nice.
Actually, I lied. Don't write that.
Oh my God, Miss
So-
Oh, I
Cunningham.
know, right there.
Because I already wrote genus. This is
Yeah.
Homo. Homo. So your scientific name is Homo sapien. Sapien. And so Homo is the first part. So that would be like chocolate, milk, cow's milk. The last one is species.
Nice.
So
We don't got another one.
we underline that, because when you write a scientific
Go
name,
inside I thought that went inside the box.
Hmm?
I thought that went inside the box.
yeah, it probably does for you. Yeah, that's where it goes. So I just won't even draw that part then. Okay, so species would be our skim. So skim, chocolate, cow's milk in the dairy section, which is cold food in Walmart. So do you see how, did we go from specific to broad or broad to specific? And that's why the boxes keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So where would you have the most organisms found? Which taxon? Domain. It's the biggest box, right? Okay, but what they may not do is put the word domain on their exam. They may say something like, of the 4 taxons below, which one is most inclusive? And you're going to say, okay, I have to remember the order. Now I'm going to teach you a sentence. And then you can make up your own sentences too, and that'll help. But I'll give you one that I know. So skim, and then this is Homo sapien. And technically there's 2 sapiens, but that means modern man. We're the only species left of hominids on this planet. Okay, so in world history, y'all learned about some of this stuff. You learned about Homo habilis, Homo erectus. You learned about the early hominids, but this is us, modern man. And we're the last one of the hominid primates left on the planet. So once we're gone, there's not going to be any others unless evolve off of our little branch. Okay. All right. So now look at this, and we'll ask you which of the following is more inclusive: phylum or order? More inclusive, has the most organisms inside of it. All right, phylum. Right. Okay. Which one is more inclusive: family or class?
Class.
Okay, good. All right, how about which one is more specific? Genus or family?
Genus.
Right, smaller. So that's the word I guess we need to know is inclusive equals broad or large, or put bigger box, bigger group, and
I don't know where
specific.
the mic is.
Well, this is just if you need to make a note about that. Equals smallest. Who's the smallest box? Okay? All right, here's my sentence. Dumb King Philip came over
Boy.
for gross spaghetti. Okay? Dumb King
Phillips came over for gross spaghetti.
Philip came over for gross spaghetti.
I got it.
Now you can come up with your own things. All right, so another student came up. Yeah, dumb Kenny picked chocolate Oreos from Grace's socks. So domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So this is what you're going to do when you take your exam. As soon as I say you can hit the button and you can start, you've got a plain sheet of paper. I've watched people do this.
Dumb King Philip came over for dumb spaghetti. I mean, gross
And they're
spaghetti.
saying it in their head, and all they have to do is write the first letter,
I think I
and
got
then you can identify them. But that's what you've got to
domain,
learn.
kingdom.
So if you come up with a sentence, that'll help. I know Janae Armstrong last semester, she and Kiara came up with one, and it was about they put Kiara in there, put her name. So so you can come up with one about you or whoever your friends are.
Dumb King.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's all right. So that is it for that, y'all. So we are down to tools. Okay. So we have in your packet. And it's real smudgy. It's a bad copy.
Smart, cute.
All right, this. All right, so let's do the first one together, and then what you're going to do is you're going to have about 10 minutes or so. You're going to finish that, and then we're going to flip it over on the back, and you're going to work on this phylogenetic tree, okay? Which is a review kind of what we've already done, okay? All right, so let's look at the first one, number 16. Which taxon includes inclusive, the most specific characteristics? Now hold on, and I read it differently. So includes, then they flipped it. The most specific. Okay, well specific we said is the smallest. That's your answer. Because usually when it says includes, it's like, oh, inclusive is big, and they, no. So I emphasized the wrong word. Okay, how about the next one real quick? Which taxon includes the broadest characteristics? Kingdom. In this case, right? So the smallest at the bottom, yep, and the biggest at the top. Now, they don't have the word domain, and they may not, y'all. This would be tricky. Okay, so you're going to finish those last questions and then flip it over, and let's do one of these together, and you can go with a partner and work on this. So the phylogenetic tree. All right, you see how this tree has some monkey heads on it, and then there's some that have like an A or B or whatever on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, that's what you're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out where to put these apes on this tree, okay? Now, where's the ancestor? Always.
At the bottom.
All right, so good, because ancestors down here, well, gosh, you've got a branch down here. So remember, there's going to be one you might have to put down there, okay? So let's do one of these. Yes, sir. In just a second, and then you can. All right, on the back, ands. All right, what you do is you read ands most closely related to Diana than any other species. Okay, so go find Diana on here. Okay, so find Diana, the one that's labeled Diana, and you should find a branch that is the closest to Diana, and that's the letter you're going to put it.
C.
Okay, so let's see. Well, you've got C or D, but which one is the closest branch?
D.
D is the answer. So
Wait, what?
That was the
Oh.
No.
yeah, because Diana see how like you've got Diana's face right here, and then you've got D is here, and then you've got C is here. See how that branch is closer to her? So that's why that's the end. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for these, right? Okay, so let's say 10 minutes. Finish the front, do these. I can help. You can stand up if your butt's getting tired. You can stand up if you want to, or work with somebody.
What was the answer?
D.
What taxonomy comes only organisms that can successfully enter